Hello, everybody. I am so excited to start this event. As I mentioned earlier, this is recorded. So for the people that didn't make the event, you can find it on my YouTube channel later on, the recorded Life with Francy podcast, and or in the Women in Podcasting um, group. So this event is for the Women in Podcasting community for podcast guests to get to know the share the expertise, and podcast hosts to share about their show and their mission. This is just more to break the ice. Um, Haiti is my co-host, and she is the host of the American Dream to the
The
Immigrants.
um,
Yeah,
the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast.
and she's also a writer, but she will get to introduce herself. But she's the co-host as well, and she is a leader in the Women in Podcasting community. You can find her Jennifer Henczel's information in womaninpodcasting.net. She offers a podcast, YouTube channel, uh, LinkedIn group, Facebook group. She has it all. If you want to start a podcast, become a podcast guest expert, or monetizing your podcast, Jennifer has all the tips. So let's get this show started. Oh yeah, of course, me. This is Francie. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, but I live in Kansas. Today I'm in Arizona. I am at a women's retreat, so I'm having the time of my life. But still gotta get business done. I am the host of Life with Francy podcast, and you can find me in all the major platforms. I also have a YouTube channel where I'll be posting the replay of this event. So thank you for so much for being here, and I'm just so excited. I am gonna start with the co-host, of course. So Haiti De La Cruz, please can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. So excited to be co hosting with Francie on my first Women in Podcasting networking event. I am Heidi, Heidi or Haiti, either or. I am a believer, wife, mom, blogger, self published author slash poet, and podcaster. As Francie had mentioned before, I am the host of The American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants, where I have immigrants come and share their journey and their story of um, moving to the United States. So they share their culture shocks, um, things that they experience, when they first move here. And I find that that is very important to share. Just trying to, change the narrative of immigration a little bit and just, share their journeys and the hardship that they go through. And I'm so excited to be here. I am trying to get the links into the chat, but my computer is being slow. So as soon as I have that loaded, I will get that in for you guys. And then also the links to my podcast, and then also where you can find me to listen to my podcast or just follow me on Instagram. Thank you, Francie.
I gotta unmute myself. So thank you. I am so excited. I love it. I think we did met through a woman in podcasting community. So like this is just amazing because you become friends after a while of doing stuff together. I went on her podcast, she went on my podcast. So like yeah, it's amazing. Now we're gonna go to Melody.
Thanks, Francie. So I'm Melody and Owen, founder of Author Nation. I have a podcast called Author Nation Interviews, and obviously I interview authors. But I interview nonfiction authors and anyone in the publishing realm. So people who are writing experts, book coaches, publishing experts, anything like that. And I also host the Women in Podcasting. Podcasting plus publishing equals profit, which is next Tuesday. So join me there and I'll pop that in the chat. Thanks, Francie.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. I gotta
Lovely.
check that event out and share it on social media as well. So I'm
Thank you.
excited for you. Alrighty, Andrea.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here. And thank you for organizing again. It's really nice to share the space with other women in podcasting, talk about all the good stuff. So I'm Andrea. I'm originally from Romania. I moved here 5 years ago. I lived on the East Coast for a while, but I just moved to LA in September. It's much warmer here. It hasn't been in the past weeks, but now it is again. So please come by if you want to visit. I do digital marketing and podcast production. So for digital marketing, I'm really around like building communities. At the moment, I work for a podcast called Now What by Carol Zimmer. She's an award-winning journalist who's interviewed amazing people. So I'm doing her social media. And then for my personal podcasts, Who Holds Up Half the Sky? And it's about Chinese feminism and how to do Chinese feminism under censorship, essentially. I also love feminist activism, so I love to be part of women communities, and yeah, happy to be here.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. I was trying to look for the links, but I'm having a hard time going back. I'm not fast enough to go back and copy the links.
The
Alrighty.
copying of the links is not working for me either. I can't copy it into the Zoom chat. I don't know why.
Okay, I tried to do it in a minute. Let's go to Jessica. So a little bit about Jessica. We met through a library meetup on 2019, and we kept following each other on social media. And then after a few months, because of this hosting this event, I tell Jennifer like she's giving me the confidence to like feel like a badass, excuse my language, and be like, oh yeah, I can do this. So, but not truly, because it took me months to message her and be like, hey, you remember me? And she's like, of course I do. But anyways, long story short, I asked her to come on my podcast, and she came on my podcast, and I was like, ah. So we're both from Kansas. So sorry, Jessica, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jessica Connolly. I'm a guest and I'm a writer. I write fantasy novels, but I also write nonfiction. And my specialty is simplifying and de-scaring businesses for creative minds. What I did was I founded a business called The Creative's Apprentice, and it's a mentorship program that helps creatives transition from hobbyists to paid professionals. And what I found is my clients were meeting their goals, but they still weren't happy. So I went out and got certified to become a life coach and study happiness and positive intelligence so I could help people live their dreams and be happy while they do it. And first and foremost, I model it by living my writing dreams because I am a writer first and foremost. But on top of that, I love connecting with other people and helping them succeed. So that's what I do.
Sorry, I'm here. I think I got it. It's a copy and paste that I saved in my personal chat, so I can have all the links for Jennifer. And then let me look for the Google Drive real quick. Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing and coming in.
Quick question: should we all share links in the chat now, or
I'm trying to look for the Google Drive.
got you?
I'm almost there. What did I do? Sorry. Doing the hosting and looking for stuff, and it's not working. Oh my gosh, I just sent it. Okay, there you go. I got this.
I was able to get it. I put it in the Google
Okay,
Docs.
there you go. You got it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Rosa.
Hello. It's so lovely to be here with you women podcasters and podcastees we are. I was excited when I saw the group on Facebook. because I find I have a tendency to be overcautious and not reach out to podcasters because I think I'm not there yet. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. However, whenever I do one, it's good enough and I'm ready. So this is the discovery that I made. What I do is I am a business alignment coach. I started off 6 years ago teaching networking skills, and that morphed into connectivity skills, and that morphed into matchmaking skills. And then once I found that people were being matched and they had the right partner, the relationships, the partnerships were still not lasting. And I had to dig deep and do a deep dive into why. And during the pandemic, it really showed up. And what it showed is that we really went out of alignment when we had to pivot our services. And it's like, oh, what do I do now? So, seeing that I had to do the same thing, I'm now able to help entrepreneurs who are struggling with pivoting their services right for the current market needs to understand the value of aligning their services and products with their values and vision. And I find that so important because, as you all know here, when we're aligned with our inner self, the outer expression is so much easier, so much clearer, right? And so when I'm speaking, though, I talk about what are you thinking? I don't have a podcast show. I look for podcasts to speak on. And I talk about what are you thinking? Because what I've realized is that even though we may have set up something externally, the internal chatter, the internal self talk shifts the external expression continuously. So if we don't deal with the thoughts, then it doesn't matter how beautiful the outside looks, it's not going to continue building or growing or creating momentum. So, and I learned from, oh, I wish I could remember his name, Mike Dooley, a
Mm-hmm.
lot more about thoughts become things, right?
Yeah.
Speaking. So it really just drove home so clearly to me last year that unless we become in touch and aware of our thoughts, then we could actually start aligning even better what the expression of it is, what the words are, how are we speaking with each other, how are we connecting from our soul, from our heart. And so what
Okay.
are you thinking is really the topic that I've started with. I don't know if it'll change, but that is the topic, and it seems to have created some buzz so far. I've done a few this year already. So if anybody's
Awesome.
interested, yeah,
That's great. Uh,
thank you.
has anybody tried? Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank
Has anybody tried to use the Google Drive to see if it worked? Because last time it wasn't working. Good. Okay. Awesome. And yeah, something that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the event is that this event is every third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. Central Time. And like right now, I'm in Arizona, so it's 5 p.m. That messed me up with a little bit. And then that Jennifer Henczel also offers like if you have a podcast, she has the Elevating You Mastermind, and she helps you there to monetize your podcast and share more resources and an amazing community as well. So if anybody was interested in checking it out, it's just womaninpodcasting.net/Francy. And then we are gonna go to Raven. I think it's Raven.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my internet connection's a little unstable. If I'm breaking up, let me know. I'll stop my video. But my name is Raven Wisdom. I am a writer. I write for two scripted podcasts, Restless Shores, which is a soap opera, and Seamus, which is a noir detective story. We're I'm an episodic writer and learning to hopefully work my way into television from podcasts writing. I also contract write as a blog, an article writer, and I contract write for different companies doing that as well. And I was just trying to expand my network and meet more women creatives and podcasting and television film, and just uh, really, yeah, I've been hiding, so it's time to say hi.
Thank you for sharing and getting out of your comfort zone. That's awesome. And then we're gonna go to Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hi, I am Julie Marty Pearson. I'm coming from California, so it's only after 4 here. I have my doctorate in organizational psychology, and I worked in higher education for 15 years doing accreditation and assessment and all that, and teaching. And got burnout on having to commute different schools and things like that. So a few years ago, I started my own coaching and consulting business. And last year, I decided to kind of shift my focus. And so my coaching business is now the pet parent coach, and I help people with fur families, with adoption, fostering, medical conditions, as well as grief and loss around pets. And now my focus is really fur moms and this idea of fur moms being moms too, whether you have human kids or not. And so last year in May, I started my podcast. It's called The Story of My Pet. And each episode, I have a new guest on to talk about their love of animals, their first pets, their current pets, rescue stories. And it's become really an advocacy platform. So each episode, we highlight one or two rescue organizations and talk about animal welfare, rescue, adoption, fostering. And it's not just cats and dogs. We cover all different animals, horses, farm animals. We just had my newest episode. We talked about a rabbit rescue organization in Auckland, New Zealand. So I have about 25 episodes now, and it's really growing. And so it's really started out just to talk about our pets because I love it, and just have kind of really focused it and have found people all over the world that want to talk about their pets. So it's been really fun.
Oh yeah, that's so awesome. I love that. Oh, well, that was everybody, and that was awesome. I'm so excited. I always like, there's always new people, and I just love the energy and everything in every single event that I do. I've been doing it since October. So, well, this part is like where we get to network with each other. First, I make sure like if anybody has a question, you can raise your hand or whatever, or if you got any comments you want to share. This is open time now. No questions. So do we have any celebrations then? Anything that you want to celebrate already for the year that you have done?
Yes, actually.
I'll
Oh, Melanie, go ahead.
Andrea, go ahead. You go first. I'll go after.
Okay. Yeah, talking about celebrations, my New Year's resolution, I totally broke it, so we'll leave that aside. But I created a new one in the first weeks. And talking about digital marketing, one thing I didn't mention is that I actually for feminist activism to help network actually to encourage them towards leadership. And I don't know if you guys are on TikTok. If you are, you know, you spend like endless hours on there, and you've probably thought about it yourself to maybe try it out and do it. And I'm that kind of person too. And you know, there were many times when I was like, we should totally do this for Her Time. That's the name of the organization, platform to educate people, and we could like really amplify our message. And I started doing it. I was very nervous about it. It was very hard at first and weird and totally out of my comfort zone. But I've been doing it consistently for only a week now, only a week. And already the audience is growing. We're bringing more people to the community. We're educating them. There's also a lot of negative comments, which of course is to be expected on TikTok. I think it got on some people's For You pages, you know, who are totally against what we do, which is fine. But yeah, I just wanted to send off the message that I'm really proud of doing that because it was totally out of my comfort zone. And, you know, the first day I did it, I was like, this is so hard. But I said, okay, I'm going to keep going because it's normal. It's day one. And, you know, if you have been trying or thinking of trying something new, I encourage you to do it, try it, even if it feels weird or hard at first. It's going to pay off. And, you know, just experiment. It's a lot of trial and error. I think it's the same with podcasting. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Melody, was you gonna say something too?
I was.
Okay,
That's
go ahead.
amazing, Andrea. That's like very inspirational. Yes, I was going to say, yes, I have something to celebrate. And it's interesting because what I'm celebrating is that I did a workshop with a colleague of mine, and we were thinking of doing a workshop at the beginning of the year. But instead of doing set your goals, we did how to achieve your goals, because everyone wants to help you set your goals, but nobody really helps you achieve your goals. And people kind of drop off by the end of, by the end of March, right? So we did a how to achieve your goals. And one of the ways, one of the tiny little things, those, tiny little things you can do is celebrate all the small steps you take. And so I'm just going to celebrate that I did the workshop and also pass on when you celebrate all those little steps, you build this momentum, and that really helps you, actually achieve the goals you set. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Celebration and a little bit of a thought.
That's awesome, Melody. And that's true. Like a lot of people's like, oh, set goals. But it's like, how do we actually, achieve them? And I'm going to piggyback off you on my celebration because I actually hosted for the first time in person where I live a vision board event. And I had 6 people in attendance, which I thought was awesome. And then 2 of them had never done a vision board before. So it was their first time. And one of them at the end was like, this was very therapeutic, like just going through the magazines, writing down her vision that she wanted for the year and things like that. So, and then I reminded them like, place it where you're going to see it every single day. So you can look at it, visualize it, and then take the steps that you need to make those goals. So that's awesome.
Yay. And I'm going to take up on you, Heidi. That's great. I love vision boards, and I used to do that too. And what I did was, I met this gentleman from Germany at an Event Raptors event. And these networking groups that we meet at, they have like about 120 people who are doing podcasts and other speaking presentations. And so we're kind of like-minded, right? So I knew already that we had lots in common. And when I found out that he had all the stuff that I didn't have, he had all the IT systems and everything in place, and he was excited about creating systems and having people use them and applications. So I started, my word for this year is activate. So I started a workshop called Simple Strategies and Systems for Activating Your Business. Because similar to what you did, Melanie, I wanted them to have things to apply right away. Because so many people set up systems, but then they have to go learn it or take a tutorial. And once I talked about, the whole energy level, the alignment and all of that, I'm giving them a worksheet that they can use in the classroom and apply right away. And then we bring him in and he starts showing them how to use Calendly right away, how to use a tracking system for all the connections you make on networking events. And they are loving it. And we've got a series of 3. So tomorrow is our second one, and then another one. And then we're going to launch a beta program on the first week in February. So I'm so excited.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing. But I know I got a story with Jessica, and I was like, oh, do you want to share it about the stickers?
Yeah. So actually, Francy's podcast that we recorded this week, I don't know, we recorded it recently. One of the things we talked about was the exact thing Melody was talking about giving yourself credit for all of the small steps that you do. And I had told them, I told Francy that I had taken a pause from writing for almost 2 years because my mom was dying. And so I was just starting to get back into writing and on a regular basis. And so I was looking for external accountability. And so I posted on social a picture of my calendar. And I was like, I'm going to put a sticker up for every day that I get a, every day that I write, and I'm starting with 5 minutes. I just have to do 5 minutes. And then the goal was to add a minute every single day. And so what I didn't realize is as I was doing that, how many people like on social were so invested in like, yes, did you get your sticker today? Did you not get your sticker today? And then Francie and I totally geeked out on our episode because like we super love stickers. And so we we're like, oh, like this kind and this kind, which like I do love the sticker store. But I don't think I shared it on your podcast, Francie. I shared it on somebody else's, but I was talking about the same thing. And what I said was I missed a day in there. And even though I missed a day, I took a picture. And the reason I missed the day was it was just a really hard grief day. And I just needed to do some self-care. And what I realized is by me showing where I failed, I was still showing people how to take care of themselves, and that it wasn't about perfection. It was about consistency. And I told Francie, so my podcast goes up on the 8th. And so I was like, okay, February, I'm going to start showing my stickers on Instagram again, because she's like the 3rd or 4th person who's like, I'm missing your stickers every day. So giving ourselves credit doesn't just impact us, it impacts the people who see us doing it, because they realize that our dreams aren't just like overnight success. It's all those little steps. So I super love all that. It's great.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. And I got that celebration idea with my trauma mentor, which is where the retreat that I'm in today. Lots of girl talk, lots of trauma work, inner child work, you know it, just having a blast over here. And one of her things is every time that she starts her coaching session, she asks you, what are you celebrating this week? And at the beginning, I had so much resistance. Like, girl, what are you talking about? I got so much to do. I am 35. I don't have this. I don't have that. What are you talking about that I need to celebrate myself? And now I have a reel that I post every Saturday now where I celebrate myself, and I try to get other people to start celebrating themselves, because as you go through life, you focus on what you are missing. And well, I don't know for everybody, but at least for me, I'm always focusing on the huge list of things that I have to do. Not, oh my gosh, I started a podcast last year and I already have over 100 episodes while working a full-time job. Like, whoa, celebrate that, yay. So, but for me, it's just celebrating that I didn't think I was gonna make it, financial beliefs are not the greatest, but I made it happen. I'm here, so I'm celebrating this week. It's just some girl time and just relaxing. I wanted to send a quick reminder about the Women in Podcasting communities. You can find it at womeninpodcasting.net/groups. And she has a community in the Facebook group and LinkedIn. She has a community there as well. And the podcast, Women in Podcasting, you can find it at womeninpodcasting.net/show. Let's see. Is anybody, did we do everybody? Is everybody got their celebration? Julie and Raven, do you guys have anything to celebrate this week?
I think I mentioned it when I was talking. I just published my 25th episode. So that's my celebration.
Okay. So,
Francie,
yes.
sorry to interrupt, but when you were talking about to-do lists a second ago, it reminded me of a coaching session I had.
Yeah.
And I had a client who was just so wrapped up in his to-do list. And I made a suggestion that he turned it into a to-do list of like the things that he's done. And I got an email from him this morning and he's like, I could have never gotten rid of my to-do list, but turning it into a to-do list has completely changed his mindset around it. And so now he's looking at all that he's accomplished instead of all he still has to do and that he's failing at. So that's another way that people can kind of switch that around for themselves.
That's
Jessica,
awesome. I love that.
Jessica, you and I have to talk, because in our workshop, we called it a to-done list.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I love this. And like, this is the point of the event, to get to know each other and see the things that are like, we can relate to the other. Let's see what else. Anybody reading anything good? Any good books?
I just finished Overcoming Under Earning by
Oh,
Barbara Stanley, and it was my business coach that sent me that. And when I first saw it, I was like, I'm not gonna read this, like but I'm so glad I did. It talks about like how we stop ourselves from reaching that next level, whether it's in business, personal life, and everything. It does focus on finance, but the steps and stuff that she has you do in the book, you can apply it to like anything. So I highly suggest that book. I've learned so much, and I love that it's like, she has have you do little exercises like, how much do you want to earn this year? Like it makes you really dig deep, like what's the number that scares you, and then she tells you to go above that, so like to not stop yourself. And then also has you like check make sure that you have a supportive community around you. She says that it's like very important to have people who support you, encourage you, provide resources, and things like that. So that's a really, really good book. I can include the link to Amazon in the chat. But that's a book that I just read. I started in December and I finished it this year. So it's really good.
I just finished John Cleese's new book called Creativity. So John Cleese is one of the guys who wrote Monty Python, and then he was a screenwriter and a bunch of other things. And it's a real short book. It's only like 100 pages, but he's boiling down the creativity process, and he does it in a very accessible way. And so I feel like a lot of people are creative, but they just don't own it. Like a lot of business owners are super creative, but they're like, I'm just an analytical mind. And so because he's such a tight writer, he's so efficient, and he's funny. I mean, he's Monty Python, so he's super funny. It's a real good way for people who may not think they're creative to kind of get into that headspace. So it was a really good fast read.
that's awesome. I haven't been reading lately. I way too much going on for the mail lady during the day and podcaster at night. But I do listen
I
to. Go ahead. Who said it?
I did have like we were doing that in our writers group. Every week we meet, and you have three gratitudes where you say three things that you like, something you've done that you've accomplished. And um, one thing that I was very proud of with the writing, because I have IMBD credit now. I was very proud of that. And Restless Shores, our soap opera, made 200 episodes, and I got to be a part of that, and that was exciting. And then the final case for our detective, I got to adapt and write the entire case. And the creator is actually, we're discussing working together on co-writing and pitching it as a TV show, and that was very exciting.
Thank you so much for sharing.
That's awesome. I also haven't been reading much lately. I started Prince Harry's book Spare out of curiosity, because I also saw a lot of really funny quotes from there. So I just wanted to get it, to have fun with it. But one book that I do recommend that I read maybe a couple years ago, it's called Dealing in Desire. It's really, really interesting. I'm super passionate about multicultural and feminist topics. And this one talks specifically about the connection between sex work and capitalism, and healing, and how things work in business and how those intertwine. So it's really fascinating. It's a case study on Southeast Asia. So it talks about it from a multicultural perspective too. It has interviews with women over there. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to leave a link to it as well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say leave a link because I'm all into the whole feminism, and I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I've wrote a blog post on it, and I'm actually currently reading right now Hood Feminism, Notes of the Women the Movement Forgot. So I've just started that book, so I can't say too much about it, but it's been interesting. It's been an interesting read thus far. So I would like to read that book you mentioned.
Definitely. I'll send it over. That's a really famous one as well.
And Haiti, you can share your blog post if you can find it. I mean, I don't know if it was a recent one or
Oh, okay. I'll
yeah.
share the link.
I
Thank
would
you.
love that. And what I do as well is I download the chat and then I will put the chat under the event when I post the event in the group too. So I'm loving this. um oh yeah, last time we had like a lot of podcasters, so we were already talking about our shows or whatever, but now that we got mostly podcast guests, any podcast that you're listening to right now that helps you either personal life, business life, whatever you like. I did forget to mention mine is mostly mental health. So I love speaking about anything mental health. And then my podcast interviews is just like whatever your mission is, we'll talk about it. And then I get a little bit into like who is the person that behind the mission. So, but yeah, any favorite podcast that you're listening to?
I just found out about a local, another Kansas City podcaster. He's known for jazz podcasts. His name's Joe Domino. And so he invited me on. I'm like, I'm not a jazz musician. What is going on here? Like, this is so weird. But it turns out he does, like, he calls it Famous Interviews with Joe Domino. And it's interviewing other creatives. So they don't have to be Kansas City based. It just turned out he was, like how Francy and I are. So it was fun to connect with somebody else local and just kind of build up that local podcast community. Because I don't know, other than Francy, I don't know any other podcasters in town. So that was fun.
That's so awesome. I love that. And thank you for getting me in contact with Miss Dawn. I'm so excited. I can't wait to have her and share her writing and stuff on my podcast.
Melody, she may be good for you too, because she's a nonfiction writer. She writes essays and memoirs, but the reason I hooked her up with Francy is writing, when you're writing about trauma, can have some psychological tolls to it. And she had written a book not so long ago where she had to face some of that. And I thought with where Francy is going with some of her work, that it may be a good resource for her. So she may be a good option for you too, Melody.
No, I'd love that. Please introduce us. I was looking at bringing someone on who deals with trauma and, talking about, what do you do when you're writing your memoir and trauma comes up, right? It's such an important topic. And so, yes, please do.
So Dawn wrote a book called Blindsided, Essays from the Only Black Woman in the Room. And so it's about her life experience as a Black woman growing up in a primarily white space. And so we're critique partners. So every week I would work with her on this book and see what she was going through emotionally. And I was like, oh, this is a whole different process than the other books I've seen you write. So I'll drop her link in the chat for you.
Thank you. That'd be great. Thanks. Francy, I see you giggling up there.
Yes, thank you. I was like, oh my God, the Latina laugh came out. I was like, whoop, mute. But no, I love this. And yeah, like right now I'm doing all the trauma work, but I was laughing because like I'm gonna say my story. Not the PG version that I've been sharing on the podcast, like the real deal here this weekend at the retreat, because I have been working with my mentor for the past couple of years. And like now I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start doing the stuff with the hands and anxiety, because like I'm going to say words that I haven't spoken out loud, but I'm excited about it. And then now getting in contact with Jessica, it was like something click in again, and I'm writing again with more intention. And I have started writing my story little by little. But I'm better. I just want to have like a better timeline and not be jumping around back and forth, because I love it more to just speak on it than be reading from a paper. But I want to have like something memorized. I know it's my story and I know what happened, but even just better words and stuff like that. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes, writing about trauma, trying not to traumatize other people as you're dealing with your own trauma is like too much. And then you're an empath as well. So you're like, oh my gosh, you're caring about your poor little heart and everybody's mind because you're about to say a lot of stuff that it's not for everybody to hear. So, anyways, I just love
Yeah.
this conversation.
Yeah. May I add something to that?
Go ahead.
Some people, they get to the point where they are writing out their story, like Jessica's talking about Dawn, and they want other people to look at the story and give feedback. And if you're ever writing about your trauma story and you are looking for feedback, you can find people who are trauma sensitive editors. And
Oh,
yeah, it's actually really important to talk to an editor and make sure that they are trauma sensitive. Sometimes I've had clients come to me and they gave something to an editor, and the editor was very business editor and just like got down to business and and the person stopped writing and just stopped working on the memoir because the editor was lacking that trauma sensitivity. And so it's really important actually to get a trauma sensitive editor if you're doing a book that you are working through trauma. Even if you're healed from it, it's still good to get a trauma sensitive editor.
that
That-
is such an important point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brought that up. I just wanted to say how resourceful you ladies are. I'm blown away. Just like, oh my God, I suddenly feel like slow and retarded and behind. And you know what? You know what? You know what? I absolutely love hanging out with younger women because you always inspire and motivate me. Always. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm changing some of my groups because this is so exciting. You woke me up.
Oh, I love that. I wanted to piggyback off of Melody. So she was talking about trauma, and we started talking about that. A book I actually just finished also is by Oprah and Dr. What's his name? Perry, I think is his last name. I have the book over there because I got it from the library. But it's What Happened to You. Has anybody read that? Oh my gosh, I feel like everybody needs to read that book because he really breaks down. He has over 30 years of neuroscience research. So he really, really breaks down where your brain stores trauma and why certain things trigger you, like sound, smell, and things like that. And so, like, a lot of kids are labeled with behavioral issues and things like that, but really they're having triggers in the classrooms or and different things, and that's where their behavior the issue comes out. It is because of the trauma that's being triggered. And then Oprah shares openly about her trauma with her grandma and then moving in with her mom and having to sleep on the porch because the lady where her mom was living didn't want a dark skinned person in her house. It's such an insightful book. It's called What Happened to You. But yeah, so it really, really breaks down the whole trauma thing. And actually, Francie, the book resourced another book you told me about, The Body Keeps Score.
Yeah.
So at the end of the book, it has resources, and in that book there, and I was like, oh my God, Francie told me about this book. So that one, I checked on the library, and I'm on the list to get that one, The Body Keeps Score. But it's an incredible book.
Wow, I just checked it. It's Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey.
Yes.
Get
Thank
that.
you.
And that's why I love this so much because like you can find a expert of any kind in the woman in podcasting community. So if you want to know anything about podcasting, monetizing, guest expert, and everything like that, you go to Jennifer Henczel. If you want to know anything about mental health, self-love, self-care, trauma, and things like that, you come and look for me. Haiti got the podcast, teaching others about the different perspective from immigrants, and she's got a poetry book as well. So it's like awesome. We got the writers in here too, like yay. That's why I love the woman in podcasting community, and so far I have been in it like over a year, and it's just literally women supporting other women.
Wow.
People like really trying to share their knowledge in whatever their topic is, and helping each other out to get the message out there, either as a podcast host or as a podcast guest, and then doing all the marketing and stuff. So I love this
Man, you
community.
guys are amazing. Congratulations to every one of you. I just like, wow.
And
Wow.
these are amazing books. I'm opening up a lot of tabs now to save them for later. And I wanted to add as well earlier. I mentioned that I do social media for a podcast called Now What by Carol Zimmer. The most recent episode that she posted is actually with author Danny Shapiro. And she talks about how she basically found out through a DNA test that the person who she thought was her father her whole life was actually not her biological father. So it's really interesting, and she just released a new and all of that. So if you guys want to check it out, I'll leave it again in the chat. But yeah, I thought it's important to the conversation, and a lot of people here have interest in these topics. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming in. Does anybody want to share anything else? Tip? Just good luck or anything?
I just really want to say thank you, Francie, for introducing this group, and then Heidi, thank you for co-hosting. Like, I honestly, January, I was like, it was when Francie emailed out of the clear blue and was like, do you want to be on my podcast? And I was like, oh, maybe I'll look into podcasting as a guest. And this community is the first community I joined along with Podmatch, and it's just such a positive experience and introduction to this like resource, and I'm just really grateful for you, Francie, and your enthusiasm, and just thank you for making everybody feel welcome.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me.
Really, I love your energy, Francelyn. I just love your energy. You do have that special attribute of making people feel comfortable and at home. You know, I feel like I just visited your home and we're all having a cup of tea together. So there's something very super special about that because, you know, not everybody has that genuine warmth to bring a Zoom group together. You know, it's really an art talent, and when COVID started, I thought I would only be good at in-person groups because I wasn't too much online, because I'm of the little older generation, right? And I thought, oh heck, what am I going to do now? Well, guess what, because I love my friends slash colleagues so much, and I saw how isolated they were, I thought, well, somebody's got to do it. I got to bring people together online, so just go do it. And that just do it has become my logo. Just do it. And it's been really one of the places where people feel safe and heard and loved. And they come every month and we just talk about stuff. What's happening? What have you changed during the pandemic? What's that? And this is what I really appreciate about you guys. It was so natural and so organic and so fruitful and resourceful. You know, it didn't have to be like male dominated structure. Oh, I'm sorry, but you know, I love all the feminism going on here.
Yeah.
It's about time we bring in the feminine energy to the world of business, guys. And
Oh my God.
I will be the grandma who leads that troop. Like, no, we don't have to do it that way. Let's bring the
Yep.
right brain into action so that the left and the right can balance itself, and we could see a whole person being male, female, generating out there. Who cares if it's a he or a she, right? So thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Like I love it. Everything that you guys saying, like that's what I try to do. Um everybody's learning how to get social again after the pandemic. You know, it has been a rough few years, but and now the extrovert is coming out, and I'm glad that you guys feel welcoming, because that's what I try to do when the events is like, yeah, like if we were in person, yeah, I will be bringing the snacks too. Everybody's comfortable. And I just love that because now you guys can message each other and, you know, have some contacts. And when you got like a podcast guest or whatever, be like, oh my gosh, she can go on this podcast or that podcast. So it doesn't have to be just within us. We will tell other people about the people that we met through Women in Podcasting community. So a big thank you for Jennifer Henczel for creating this amazing community and helping other women to get out of their comfort zone now, especially with women in podcasting leaders, where more women are stepping up and helping other women to do the same, because hey, we all either we are already at the top and we're going to bring some people in, or we all going to go to the top together.
You know what? That's so important because I just heard on some real, I can't remember where, but it was a real reputable talk, and they said only 4% of the whatever 80% or whatever women that are entrepreneurs are actually making over $1 million. That's ridiculous, right? That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's past time that we.
And that's what Jennifer Henczel is trying to do, is help other women monetize their podcast, monetize their mission, monetize anything, because money
Yes.
is everywhere. It's just all about energy and it's all about mindset.
Yeah.
So we got you. Whatever the topic is, you can look for it in the women in podcasting community, and you will find other women that are expert, that they have other different expertise. So, but yeah, thank you so much for showing up and sharing about your missions and your show. Thank you, Haiti, for being my
Thank you, Mama.
co-host.
Forward to see you in
I
the
hope
group.
you guys have a blessed night, and this will be on YouTube and in the Women in Podcasting community. Check out womaninpodcasting.net. Hope you guys have a blessed night. Bye bye.
Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Stop the recording.